Welcome viewers. Let us come back to our discussion on sustainable and clean energy. Last class we have discussed about renewable energy and what are the policies to be implemented for renewable energy, how it can be made sustainable. So, to continue with that discussion, now let us discuss about so what are the drivers of renewable energy policies. Okay. So, as we know there are primarily three drivers of sustainable development: sustainable consumption, production, whatever we say, that is it has to be eco friendly, it has to be people friendly, that is and it has to be prosperity friendly. So, when the economic prosperity is advanced around the world, so this renewable energy, the sustainable development and renewable energy, this definitely it will minimize its negative impact in the economy, in our financial structure, financial state. So, economic prosperity automatically will minimize the negative impacts in our market, in our financial conditions. So, all these drivers like economic, along with economic prosperity, another driver for the renewable energy technology also provide, that is energy it provides energy services including the lighting, electricity, heating, cooling, etc., energy mobility, etc. So, it reduces not only the financial burden, it reduces not only our stability so, and enhances the mobility, enhances the all kinds of technology use, etc. So, it also brings us the economic prosperity around the world. So, relative to other types of energy, for example, fossil fuels, nuclear power and traditional biomass, etc. So, the modern renewable energies definitely would provide a variety of additional socio-economic benefits, in improving the quality of life, in reducing the air pollution, reducing the carbon emission. So, and socio-economic benefits are also a major force, driving force for the policy makers. So, to adopt this renewable energy targets and support the policies, because it also enhances the quality of life, and even it also protects the ecosystem, environmental system by reducing the negative impacts on the air quality, environmental, in climate and other resources. So, how to adopt this renewable energy? So, the renewable energy drivers, its benefits now have been categorized under varieties of ways, not only economic but also ecological and the social benefits also. Now, let us see what are these ways and means. So, United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, they have already categorized that drivers and opportunities and benefits of renewable energy are related to environmental, that means the climate change mitigation and reduction of environmental and health impacts, like due to the negative impact in the environment, that means health is being affected because due to the all kinds of the diseases and health hazards, that will be minimized. So, environmental impact, that also environmental impacts also, like it affects, that means it will positively influence the climate change and help us in mitigating this thing and reducing the environmental and health related impacts. So, and also it enhances the energy access, energy security by security, fuel import, balance of trade. So, socio-economic development also takes place, socio-economic development takes place, as well as because of the environmental impact, it gradually reduces the environmental hazards and improves the quality of health and quality of life. So, let us discuss about the environmental drivers. Environmental drivers like extraction of and transport of the refined use of the fossil and nuclear oil results in host of significant environmental impacts, including the damage of land for mining, air pollution, carbon emission, even polluting the water also. So, these are the environmental risks and hazards that has happened because of these traditional or the conventional sources of energy. So, this it also affected this loss of biodiversity, then risk of nuclear accidents, global climate change, all kinds of the health hazards and negative impacts that also directly or indirectly affect the human health. So, these are the these are the outcomes of this climate change impact on the environmental aspect, environmental drivers. So, WHO has also said that outdoor air pollution due to largely burning of the coal and road transport and all kinds of things, even in like in the country wise, even the urban cities and the then that means expansion of the urban cities and the infrastructure etc. Like then the countries like China also has created enormous of coal burning has and pollution due to the coal burning. So, that has also caused the deaths, annual deaths. So, China has also not only in economic prosperity it has progressed, but at the same time it has also damaged the ecology and environmental aspects driver. So, that is why. So, India is a major contributor in its burning the solid biomass, cooking and heating. So, that is why our government's initiative in providing the gas, that means cooking gas to every household in the rural sector, and even supplying the electricity, LED bulbs, and other kinds. So that the environmental hazards, environmental risk will be minimized. So, health related problems like biodiversity loss and other environmental challenges will also be are because of this environmental effects. So, that can also be minimized. So, renewable energy deployment also with the it's an integrated government strategy around the world to address these challenges, especially the not only producing the renewable energy, but how consumption and the business and supply, transport, everything. So, the government has already made the strategies and rules and regulation in terms of policies to how to use it, how to produce it, how to use it, and for for health benefits, for the quality of life improvement, and for the business purpose and the fuel efficiency or energy efficiency. So, reduce the pollution and also improve the public health. So, renewable energy definitely it improves the public health. It improves the quality of air in the community, in the open source, in the open space, then reduce the pollution. And so, if all these policies are to be enacted, will be enacted at all levels, starting from the rural level to the urban cities level. So, energy production, consumption, etc. And uses can also be better enhanced in a very sustainable way. So, therefore, that is we have to be very concerned about the policies to promote the modern renewables. Then again another thing is that reduce the fresh water use. So, now many governments are also turning to renewable energy to reduce the water consumption associated with the energy productions. So, how we can save or conserve our water resources, that is also another thing. So, other drivers related to environment is like the opportunities for the local economic development and protection against this fossil fuel prices, price hike, and air pollution, all these things that can also be protected. Then reducing the reliance on the nuclear power, because Germany after the disaster that happened in 2011 Fukushima nuclear plant in Japan. So, Germany has also planned to phase out its nuclear power facilities to be replaced over time by the renewable energy. So, major countries, those who have witnessed this Japan nuclear disaster, after that they are also shifting their targets towards renewable energy sector and slowly withdrawing themselves from the nuclear energy. So, mitigate the climate change, that is also another factor of environmental driver, that is climate change mitigation is becoming increasingly important, and the key environmental driver for the renewable energy. So, in combination with the energy efficient movements, improvements, renewable energy is now represent the key pillar in many of the government's effort to decarbonize the energy sector, to protect our ecosystem, environmental system, not only through the plantation and greenery, increasing the greenery, but also how to reduce it. So, the environmental driver, that is the major driver for mitigating the climate change, and how we can slowly and steadily shift towards the renewable energy and minimize the pollution in the environment. So, now coming to the economic drivers. So, economic benefits are again immense, because cost effectiveness, renewable energy cost, especially the cost of solar PV and wind power machines or hydro power, hydro energy system, infrastructure, etc. So, that will also gradually reduce. In the long run, actually it will be very cost effective, but gradually it will continue to decline. So similarly, your renewable energy also helps us to have a number of indirect economic expenses or costs associated with increasing fuel price, fossil energy production, then healthcare expenses. So if energy will be available with cheaper and better quality, with the cheaper cost and the better quality, then definitely we can maintain our lifestyle, maintain our health facilities, and etc. And even after consuming required or optimum level of energy, then we can also save it. So to reduce the long term cost associated with the global climate change, such as certain disruptions due to displacements of the people and disruption in their economic activity, in the employment, etc., because of these situations like the pandemic, COVID, or disasters, or maybe sometimes because of the political violence or the internal violence, some forced migration of the people, because of these social factors, environmental factors. So when we talk about the costs associated with this climate change, not only the climate change, but the after effects or the impacts of the climate change in disrupting our normal life, disrupting our society, disrupting our day-to-day activity, and even the socio-economic activities. Also, it has becoming very highly expensive. So how to reduce that cost? That is also another factor. So therefore, the investment in sustained economic growth is environmentally sustainable. So in order to achieve the sustained economic growth, that will also go in hand with the environmental sustainability. If you can achieve environmental sustainability, automatically it can also help us in achieving slow and steady sustainable economic growth. So similar these economic benefits, like it also improves the balance of trade and reduce the price volatility, because economic benefits empower the people not only for the purchasing power and etc., but it can control the market in terms of reducing the other kinds of, not only reducing the pollutions, but also price stability, because investment in the renewable energies can improve the countries and regions trade balance also, because of course we have to bring some kind of reforms in trade policy, but however it can control this volatility of price volatility and the risk and the supply risk risk also in the market. So it can control this trade balance, can control the risk, price volatility, and the supply risk, supply risk, that can also be controlled. So similarly, in Denmark, for example, it's an example in Denmark, its strategy has been to move towards 100% renewable energy by 2035, and removing all kinds of fossil oil free economy, or nuclear, slowly coming down to withdrawing gradually from the nuclear power, etc. So how to establish a 100% renewable energy based consumed sector, economic sector, and reduce the fossil fuel free or make the society, make the economy 100% fossil fuel free by 2050. So that will result in reduced energy expenditure, because in the long run automatically it will be cost effective, reduce the energy expenditure, and then we can also develop in other areas like the industry, infrastructure, health, other kinds of things, because of the less expensive energy sources. So it can also create more and more jobs. If suppose when we are planning a solar power farm in rural sector, or wind power, or even the bioenergy sources or plants, etc. So not only youths are being youths and the both women, youth are being empowered, are being educated, are being trained to participate in this kind of activities, taking care of their own area and community, and maintaining this kind of infrastructure. But at the same time it also creates more and more jobs in the rural sector, and educate the people, train the people towards the learning new types of skills, industry, new type of skills and competencies. So that gradually it actually bring a transition, a shift from the from the unemployment phase, unemployment scenario towards the gradual slowly economically empowered kind of society. So, this kind of things, this research has also established that while gradually shifting towards the renewable energy also transitions, it brings transition and shift in the jobs by sector, by location, and the net impact on the job creation will be positive and constructive. So, similarly skills required for manufacturing, selling, installing and maintaining all kinds of varieties of medium and high skill opportunities can be created, driver sales people can be trained. Similarly, the example like Germany, for example, the Germany to be the first major industrialized country that achieves the transition to renewable energy with all opportunities for export, for development, for trade, for technology, for jobs, that it carries with along with this. So, this kind of economic benefit prosperity can also be possible. So, it can also meet rapidly rising energy demand. Then after slowly if we will not only will be self sufficient and reduce the expenditure in the energy sector, but gradually will be more capable of exporting the energy, because with the increasing day slowly the energy demand, globally energy demand has been increased, energy requirement has been increased. The sooner the country will be self sufficient, self empowered and self sufficient, then definitely they can start the business of exporting the energy, exporting the solar unit, PV units, wind power machines, or other hydro energy related infrastructure. So, they can export the infrastructure to other countries for starting the renewable energy scenario in infrastructure and operations in the underdeveloped or developing countries. So, that can also incur the business profits and business opportunities also. So, similarly, to provide access to energy and alleviate the poverty is definitely the poverty alleviation, removing the hunger, and that means bringing the zero hunger, removing the hunger across the country, across the thing, that is also possible, that can also be possible. So, alleviate fuel poverty also, advance rural economic development is in the industrialized countries with fuel with energy efficiency and sustainability, definitely that can also improve the quality of life. Keep the energy the revenue local, for example, when the fuel imports are displaced with the local renewables, whether at the national and the subnational, and energy expenditure can spur further economic activity in the local economy. So, when we are planting the solar units, solar PV or the wind power system infrastructure in the rural areas, that also not only create the jobs and opportunities and the economic, that also that will also boost the local economy, financial activity, economic activity. It will engage the people in all kinds of the economic activity, financial activity, and empower them. So, local economy also will be enhanced. So, increase the tax revenues automatically when the income of the people enhances, the GDP will grow, and automatically the tax revenue will also collected tax revenue will also increase. So, that will definitely be again reinvested in the social infrastructure. So, this additional revenue can enable the government to reduce the tax rates for the other inhabitants such as the low income category people, and spend it for the more social infrastructure, health facilities and the security system. So, reduce the public health cost, automatically the public health cost, so that we can make it as a so here sustainable health and health services can also be affordable, and the cost effective. So, similarly, another is that political and security drivers, that is also another safety and security drivers of energy sector, and a political will that we have discussed. So, these two are also very important driver. So, energy is critical for the healthy economy, and energy services can also sustain to improve the people's quality of life, but at the same time we have to be very careful about its its safety, risk, it has how to prepare it, make it as risk free. So, how to address its hazards. So, physical availability of highly reliable and reasonably affordable energy products, services, etc. are not only very critical for the economic scenario, but for political security also, security and this improvement in the energy security can also can be diversified, and with local availability and technology is required for capturing, converting into other resources of useful energies, like how these renewable energies can be captured, stored, saved, and can be diverted and can be diversified for other kinds of activities in the global marketplace and the industries also. So, increase in reliability and resilience, so definitely will be more self sufficient, the more will be self sufficient and empowered and capable of producing the renewable energy. So, it enhances the reliability, increasing reliability that will positively affect the economy, environment, sustainability, people's quality of life of the people, and resilience also. So, it will be the more sustainable it will be, then it will be resilient to withstand, to face any kind of disaster, any kind of challenge. So, sometimes what happens in the local areas also, in the rooftops also some wind power projects are also being installed. So, for example, in Japan also, after the severe earthquake in 2011, so where the also 40,000, more than 40,000 people have displaced with energy, etc. So, because of this disaster, and so then all kinds of the activities like the evacuation in the present, in the event for future emergencies, all kinds of things. So, how to, so that it has, that the city actually aims to transit itself towards a safe, resilient and sustainable energy system. So, these kind of pandemic or these kind of natural disaster calamities and challenges and accidents and disasters actually helped us, taught us to build a robust, safe, resilient and sustainable energy system, because energy again, and our energy system is, you can say, it's the backbone of our economy, it's the backbone of our life, human life, it's the backbone of the sustainable environment as well. So, how to ensure the energy democracy? Democracy is like access to affordable, renewable energy, clean energy, that access itself, it has to be democratized. Okay. So, that means it is related to more towards the climate justice movement, that means how to decarbonize not only the society, but decarbonize the energy economy also. Decarbonize the environment, society, ecosystem, but also decarbonize the energy economy. So, which is also very critical in mitigating the climate change factors. So, then only we will be able to invest more in taking care of our environment, ecosystem, and facing the challenges of climate change. So, therefore, an equitable, ecologically sound energy system, equitable, that is equal distribution, equal access, affordability, and ecologically sound energy systems should serve the needs of the world's people. Okay. And that an energy translation will be advanced by a shift to public and community control. So, gradually it will be handed over to the public, to the community, to maintain it, to manage it, to control it, and to use it sustainably. So, now gradually the responsibility, the ownership will be transferred towards the stakeholders, towards the community people. So, for example, in Japan also, as of the December 15, the 14 cities had formed the companies to generate the renewable energy from the local resources. So, they have been empowered, the people are being trained, local people are being trained through different workshops, training programs, etc., and the infrastructure are being installed in different local areas, community areas, and the people are being trained. So, now automatically the cooperatives, the companies, the societies are being built up, so that the people they own their own responsibility, they take the community responsibility, they are the major shareholders, major stakeholders. So, they after installation they maintain, they learn, they run the business, they operate it, and they shave it, renew it, maintain it. So, in this way not only it will facilitate the economic aspects of local economy, but also empowers the people, educate them towards using it sustainably. So, similar in Japan, 14 cities have been they have formed the companies to generate this renewable energy from the local resources. So, in order to reduce the dependence on the foreign energy, or become dependent on the government sources or from any private sources, that means self empowerment. So, they have been empowered to to enhance their self sustainability and to create energy and maintain it as and become less dependent on other sources. So, these are some of the observed impacts of the renewable energy, the environmental impact, economic impact and the political and social impact as we have already discussed. So, environmental cost of definitely renewable technology and on-site specific things like greenhouse gas emissions will be reduced, air pollutants will be reduced. So, such costs need to be in the long run it will be reduced, in the long run it will be more cost effective and sustainable. Economic impact, increasing the business and empowering the farmers in the village, in the agriculture, small scale entrepreneurs, then citizens, then citizens and powerful. So, it can some renewable energy projects can also be very powerful tool for the socio-economic development, local wealth creation, job opportunities. So, it has the immense economic benefits. Similarly, political and security impacts, like for example, with increased deployment of renewable energy has been shown to improve the energy security of the country. Similarly, in European Union also, it has also enhanced the energy security in European Union, where renewable substitution for the natural gas accounted for 30% of the estimated reduction in the fossil fuel demand during the 13. So, this renewable energy has replaced the this 30 replaced up to 30% this natural gas consumption from the fossil fuels and in European countries, countries under European Union. So, in that way not only it saves money, but cost, but it also it has the it saves the security. I mean, it also make it more risk free, more self sufficient and and risk free, and the political and the security impacts are also. And then political will, political consensus takes place, security that means security impacts in terms of risk free uses and not being that means being self sufficient, not being dependent on other foreign sources. So, that kind of empowerment, enhancement and efficiency and efficacy are possible as the observed impact of renewable energy in our life, in our society, in our economic system. So, right now, so these are some of the platforms, as you can see. Now, the solar panels, the different kinds of infrastructures of the renewable, affordable and clean sustainable energy. So, now I am concluding the session here right now. So, after this we will discuss other things. Okay. Thank you very much.